there are three types of headlines I want you to be aware of. There's the super headline, and the super headline is typically right above the core headline. It's important to define certain things so that you're not intimidated when people are throwing around terms, especially in the marketing world, because there's all these marketing speak terms that intimidate people. And many people are afraid to ask, what does that mean? What's a super headline? Is it a really good headline? No, a super headline is the headline above the core headline. So for example, attention coaches, consultants, and service professionals. So a super headline is calling out the target audience. That's what I like to utilize the super headline for. You may see it at the very top. Or if you're suffering from a lack of sleep, read this ad, right? That's a super headline. That could be the core headline, but the super headline I like to use as a hook to identify the problem or the chief complaint that your viewer, your listener, or your reader is struggling with. So that's what a super headline is. It's the headline above the core headline. Now, what you're probably most familiar with is the core headline. And the core headline is the main headline that is getting the attention of your prospect so that you can turn that prospect into a profitable transaction, hopefully a profitable relationship for as long as possible. So there's the super headline above, which calls out the target audience. The core headline is focusing on the problem that you're handling, not just the solution, but the problem. And then the sub-headline is what goes underneath the core headline. So there's really three types of headlines. There's probably many more, but those are the three different species that I want you to be aware of. The super is above the core headline. The core headline is identifying the problem and possibly the solution in one sentence. And then the sub-headline is underneath that so that they keep reading. The purpose of the super headline is to read the headline. The purpose of the core headline is to read the subheadline, and the purpose of the subheadline is to read the first sentence or listen or watch, right? Headlines can be expressed on video, on audio, and in the written word. So three types of headlines, and you don't have to use all three, but if you do, know what they are, and that's why I've defined them up front. I hope that's useful, because a subheadline is like the subtitle to a book. So some books have one title, Think and Grow Rich. Okay, there's no subtitle. Another famous book that just has one title is How to Win Friends and Influence People, Dale Carnegie. But most books have subtitles. And the subtitle of a book, if you've ever written a book or promised to write a book, then ultimately that's the promise of the book. The title is what the book is, and the subtitle is what the book does. So really, it's a headline and a sub-headline or subtitle. So for example, my book, which is a lead generation tool, it's called Alexisms. That's the title, Alexisms. I think you should have an isms book as well with your name. I have many students who have written their own. But the subtitle is Useful Life Lessons of a Recovering Serial Entrepreneur. That's me. And so the subtitle is the promise. So Useful Life Lessons from a Recovering Serial Entrepreneur. Serial entrepreneur is an entrepreneur that some people brag about, that they love being a serial entrepreneur, but I find it not to be very productive because you go from one project to the next, never really committing to a specific topic or brand that you're known for. And so that's why I wrote the book, almost like a mini recovery and healing process, because I've been a serial entrepreneur for over 30 years. Now, another question, okay? Why do headline templates lead to profitable prospecting? Well, prospecting is probably the single most expensive cost you have in marketing your business. And if you don't have a business, when you're starting up a business, the headline is going to be your tool. But why is a headline, or why do headlines lead to profitable prospecting, is because the way to make profits is for people to pay you money. And the first step to paying you money is getting their attention. So you want to ensnare attention first before you're having someone part with their money. If you don't have the attention, then you're not going to get someone. See, that's my alarm going off right now. So, and that's a headline, by the way. That got my attention, and I'm sure it got yours as well if you heard it. So, the key to the headline is to turn the prospect into a profitable transaction and ultimately a relationship. Next question is, how do headline templates guarantee readership or newsworthiness, right? There are different types of headlines. You can have a question, you can have a challenge, you can make it a promise, you can make it newsworthy. For example, a news headline would be, every week 30,000 people suffer from diabetes. Are you one of them? That's a headline that's both a combination of a question and newsworthy, right? And if you're wondering if you're going to ever struggle or suffer from diabetes, I have family members who do, then you're going to continue to read. The goal of the headline also is to polarize the reader or the listener or the viewer so that you get rid of the people who have no intention of working or buying from you. Let's say a vegetarian and you're selling gourmet hamburgers. You want to get rid of the vegetarian reader, viewer, or listener because they're of no use to you. So if 100 people are getting exposed to your headline, if 2 of them are interested in reading the ad or reading the marketing communication, then you're doing really, really well. The more people you expose the headline to, the more people who will say yes. And through profitable prospecting, you can get referrals, you can get joint venture partnerships where other people who've said yes to you are referring friends, family, colleagues to you as well. So it all starts with the headline or the attention grabber. So here's the first key point. Headlines pre-qualify prospects for faster profit generation. Now, the goal is profit, not just revenue. I mean, revenue is the money that comes in, but profit is the difference between the revenue and the cost of sale. So if you're making 20 or 30% profit, you're doing really, really well. If you're in the digital marketing world, then many times you could make 60, even 70% profit. If you're a manufacturer, it's good if you make 10% profit. And if you're in the software business, you probably have 80 to 90% profit, depending on how much you're spending on advertising to capture attention. But the pre-qualification part is not just people who are ideal for what you're offering, but it's getting rid of the people who have no business in wasting their time and reading or listening or viewing what you have to offer. So it's disqualification and pre-qualification at the same time. Now, here's another key point. Headlines are the most effective way to guarantee viewership. So the first thing is getting attention. The next thing is getting people to read it or to view it. If they're listening to you, like let's say on a podcast, I have a podcast called All Selling Aside. I always start with a headline on what the topic of that specific episode is. Now, if you want to get access to All Selling Aside, just go to allsellingaside.com, and every single week you'll get over 25 years of marketing know-how and time-proven tips in 25-minute clips, 25 minutes chunked into the topic that I'm focusing on for that particular week. So you can go to allsellingaside.com and you can check out the notes, and you can also go to iTunes and subscribe through iTunes and get it week after week.